1st, 2017. Guys? Thank you. All right, we have a quorum and the agenda was properly posted?
Yes.
Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4 is public appearances. This is public's opportunity to speak about any subject that is not a specific agenda item, and I think the only things we have are agenda items, so we will move along. Item number 5 is discuss and consider the minutes from the Plan Commission meeting, the previous Plan Commission meeting on April 12th. Any comments, corrections?
I just had one question, Aaron. Did you get back to that couple regarding the deed covenants with the fence? They had permitted for a fence.
She came in. She came in. We did explain the difference between deed restrictions and the village restrictions, and so I think she accepted that. We went through it with her.
So they were not allowed with the permit to proceed?
The permit is different than, the permit is separate from the actual deed restrictions of her development. And so, but that is something now that we've talked about to make sure that, we raise that issue for people to say, well, okay, before you go ahead here, you may want to check to see if it's allowed in your subdivision or not.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments on the minutes from last month? Or just after April?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay. Motion by Phyllis and second by Mick to approve minutes as presented. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. All right, item number 6 is a public hearing. So at this time, unless we have more people coming in, I will open the public hearing, and this is an opportunity for the public to provide input regarding a request from Encore Homes for approval of a preliminary plat for the proposed Drumlin Grove subdivision to create 48 single-family residential parcels and 5 outlots from current parcel number 0711-054-80003, located north of West Lawn Heights 3rd Edition and west of West Lawn Heights 1st Edition. And we do not have the applicant here yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Since we don't have the applicant here, some people have asked to speak or ask questions. So we can take those questions at this point without the applicant here to present, rather. And I am hoping I get these names right. Mark Storlid? Yes. You want to come up here and sit, and you can go ahead and talk about this if you like.
Overall, I'm in favor of the plan. If we understand the concerns of all the property owners, the owners of the land that needs to be developed, the people that own parcels around the development, as long as we can keep those concerns and that everybody can address their concerns. One of the concerns I do have, though, is on the plot map. I live at 907 Stony Hill Lane.
Okay.
And if you look at it, there is like a 19 feet between my property line and the property lines of number 47 and number 48.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that is supposed to be used for. I don't know if that's going to be a public access to the wetlands or what it's actually for. But I also believe that lot number 47 and 48 are in what I consider not an ideal placement. I'd like to see lot 47 move next to lot 23 and have that house face west. I'd also like to see lot 48 put up next to lot 22 and have that face east. And the road, Drumlin Grove Road, I'd like to see that move south to where it may meet up with the 19 feet between the property lines that they have set now. But like I say, overall, I realize that when we bought the house and built the house in 2005, that I realized that there was going to be development someday. I just hope that the village addresses the concerns of all the property owners and that they can come to some type of compromise or some type of conclusion.
Sure. We'll make sure the applicant hears what you had to say.
Thank you.
All right, speaking to that, Jack, and we can continue with the public hearing. However, as the meeting was started, it was brought to our attention that the applicant was looking to have this item pulled and they weren't coming tonight, so.
Oh.
That
Okay.
was literally just told to us less than 2 minutes ago.
All right, well, things happen quickly, but we can certainly listen to other people that have signed up to talk and do that. I'm sorry, the applicant for the Drumlin Grove subdivision is not coming tonight and asked to have it pulled from the agenda. We just found it out, like, when Matt walked in.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Well,
So tell them.
Is this gonna move forward to another date?
we'll table it, is that what he wanted to do, or did he say?
I think it should be tabled myself.
I mean, we can vote to table it, we have other people that wanted to talk, but I guess if you can come back, we'll put it on the agenda again. It's news to me.
Well, I mean, there's no need to put it back on the agenda until they come
Okay.
forward.
Table it until we hear from the applicant then?
You can go ahead with the public hearing if you choose to, because it's going to be, it is being taped.
Okay.
But it's the pleasure of the board as to whether they wish to do that, or you want to table that until the applicants will be here.
Well, my thought is if people took time out of their day to show up and some of them want to speak and it's being recorded, at least let them get their comments on the record, if that's okay with everybody?
They're not here to answer any questions.
They're not here tonight, they pulled it from the agenda.
We don't even know
Right.
if they're going to be moving forward. It seems unlikely, given
So why have a meeting then?
we don't need to. I'm just,
Right.
I just foresee
That's
that.
my point.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we didn't hear what he said yet.
We're just gonna get an answer for a response.
If the people that have signed up want to put their comments on record tonight, or wait till, see if it comes back on the agenda and come at that time, it's up.
Wait.
We don't know.
We don't know if it's going to be on a future agenda.
It may or may
Is that
not
what you
be.
said, Matt?
I mean, they didn't even contact us. They just flat out weren't coming.
Okay,
So we
so
just-
we don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, we don't know. So,
So we're offering people the opportunity, if you want to put your comments on record tonight, we'll continue the public hearing. If you want to wait, that's fine too. We have, as you heard, we have no idea what their plans are, if they plan to go forward or not. Okay, so
So the next person is Janine. Did you want to talk tonight, or do you want to wait to see?
I would just put my comments in while I'm here.
Okay, no
Um,
question.
My concern is the.
Please state your name, full name.
Janine Stassi. I'm concerned about the traffic flow with this new subdivision going in. We live on Sandpiper in the town, and we have an abundance of traffic going down our road. Fast, motorcycles, everything. And I know that some of it's from the subdivision behind the school, Glacial Drumlin School, and some from behind, in the subdivision back, behind Wooler's property. And I would like to know how this traffic flow will affect Sandpiper. Is there going to be more traffic down our street from this subdivision? Because that's quite a few houses. And I don't know, when we moved out here like 40-some years ago, the road did not go through, and my kids would, we wouldn't worry about our kids quite so much on the road. But now, I can't let my grandkids run across the street because the cars are like flying.
Sure.
I call it Sandpiper Highway. That's how fast the cars go, because we don't have the stop signs like you do in the village. and cars just race by the park.
Okay.
So I'm very concerned about where all this traffic, is there going to be any roads leading out? Or is all this traffic going to be funneled to Sandpiper and then out to Gaston? And I'm opposed to that. I'm not opposed to the subdivision itself, but I am opposed of all this traffic being shuffled down Sandpiper.
Right.
And that's my concern.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Kara, did I pronounce that right? Did you want to speak tonight?
Mine was a question, and the person's not ready to answer.
Okay. All right. Tim Wilcox, you want to come on up?
Sure. So my name's Tim Wilcox. I live on Stony Hill Lane, 902 Stony Hill Lane. And my concern is traffic as well. And the first thing I would require from the board is to ensure there is a traffic study completed, all right, prior to approving this plan. Because as I read the plan, currently there's going to be two existing ins and out of that subdivision. One is down Sandpiper, or excuse me, Stony Hill Lane, and the other one's going to be up on the north.
Nightingale.
Yeah, Nightingale out to Parkview, right? That's two outlets for 54 homes, all right? You're going to have one group of vehicles going out to Nightingale down towards the school of Taylor Prairie, which you can't get through already. You have teachers parking on the streets, right? If you don't live around that area, I would highly recommend going out, reviewing the area at 8 o'clock in the morning and about 3:15 in the afternoon. Because even as it stands, it's very condensed, very congested, all right? The lady from Sandpiper, the only alternative on that plan and future plan would be to eventually open an outlet going into Sandpiper. And I'm in full agreement with her. Sandpiper is already overcrowded with traffic because it's the only outlet to Gaston Road, all right? So somewhere along the lines, the board has to require some sort of traffic study and understand the impact of the additional volume that subdivision is going to bring to Cottage Grove. Okay? I'm against the plan just for the fact that nobody has mentioned anything about traffic patterns so far. And if they can resolve that issue, then, okay, I'm all for the progress, and I think it'd be a nice area to live in. But it's going to bring a lot of traffic to a very condensed area.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. This person is for Drumlin Grove. We did get an email regarding Drumlin Grove. Yeah. We did get an email regarding Drumlin Grove from Gary and Shirley Pepper, who said they cannot be here tonight but wanted this read into the record. They had a few of their concerns. One was the water drainage issue, and they're telling us that they've been there a long time and that people have now, I'm paraphrasing here because it's rather long, so that water flow was altered a few years ago, and they're asking about the outlots and how it would be maintained. And they want to know if a geologist has had input as to what properties they're all sitting on it, so it's known if water could become a problem later. And they're talking about the recent redirection of water flow on the McAllen Living Trust property, and it's become more of a problem for them. So this can go into the record with that. They're not here tonight. And this is Michelle? Okay. Michelle, and just state your name, please.
Sure, my name is Michelle Vaughn. I live at 713 Starlight Court. Is the board able to address the previous question regarding water?
We can't really do much other than take comments because the applicant is not here, so we're we're not going to do much other than let people talk because they showed up tonight.
So the issue of water management, for example, is done strictly by the developer without any input from the village? Is
No,
that-
that we have engineering and public works that have, and our director of planning and development have a lot of requirements, so.
So why can't we hear an answer to the question?
Aaron, is there any?
Development's gonna happen.
There's no,
It's
There's no
gonna,
app- there's
it's
no
not going
developer.
forward at this point unless they show up and come back on the agenda, and they haven't indicated they want to do that. So we don't know if they're coming back, so we're kind of stuck at this point.
So if they don't come back, this plat that you sent to the people in this room
Won't happen.
is void. And some other developer could come in
Unless they-
and with a new, can I finish please?
Sure.
Another developer could come in with a different idea, a different plan?
Sure.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you why he didn't show up, but he didn't.
Oh, that's, you can't control that.
No.
You can't control that. I do have a couple of questions. I live at 713 Starlight Court, which means that my backyard would abut another backyard in this proposed development. And unfortunately, my eyes aren't really good enough to read the fine print here. There is a utility easement that runs at the edge of my property, and I'm wondering if that was considered in the setbacks for these new proposed lots. In addition to which, I'm wondering how the small size of these lots fits into the village master plan. They're much smaller than any of the houses surrounding this development.
To the south.
I'm curious about that.
Is there anything we can comment on at this point, or just?
Yeah, the minimum lot size in the village is 10,000 square feet. These all meet that. The average is actually about 13,000 in what they're showing here. You're right, they are slightly smaller than the neighborhoods adjacent, but they're still well over our minimum standards.
Well, I'm not sure that 10,700 is well over your minimum standard.
The average of these was about 13.5.
Okay. So that doesn't answer my question, though. Why the change, and how does that fit into the village master plan? I'm concerned about my property value.
Yeah. It's not really a change. It meets the density requirements of our plan.
Which are what?
Again, the 10,000 square feet comes to about 4 units per acre. The other ones were built larger than that in the past.
Exactly. So I understand that it meets the minimum lot size requirement, but it doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of the neighborhood. Do you understand my position?
Yes.
And do you think that that will have an impact on property values in my neighborhood?
I don't think so. I think these are still large lots by Madison area standards. Our 10,000 foot minimum is large compared to a lot of other communities.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Are these intended to be family homes? Does anyone know?
Single family, I think, was his proposal.
Yeah. They're all single family.
Okay. And I'm wondering if the issue of schools then has been addressed. Seems like that's a lot of kids that would be coming into our schools, and I'm not sure how much room we have.
I do know that the school board is aware of this and has not said they're outright against it. They really haven't said one way or the other.
I actually spoke with the business director from Monona Grove today about it. They're aware of it. It's something they've been putting into their enrollment studies all along. They think they can accommodate it, and they're in favor of growth in the area.
The school district is planning for between 1,000 and 2,000 new students by 2035, and I highly doubt the village would grow to the extent of even the low end of that. So,
How many do 1,000 to?
1,000 to 2,000 students from the village by 2035. I didn't do the study.
That's what they told us.
Seems like a lot.
Served on the school board. My God.
But, like I said, the projected growth that we're seeing won't come anywhere near the minimum of that. So, and we meet with the school district periodically, and they're aware of the areas that are likely planned for residential development.
Okay. I just have one more question. I'm sorry to have so many. Will there be another notice sent out if the
If
developer
it's back
wants
on
to
the
put this
agenda,
back on the agenda?
absolutely. Yeah, it'll be back on the website and public agenda posting when it comes out.
Okay.
Yeah. If you
And
don't
then
hear
I guess one other thing on the stormwater management, that they would need to meet DNR, Dane County, and the village standards for stormwater management, so they wouldn't be able to make any situation worse, that's certain, that's for certain.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think that's everybody that registered to speak. I guess plan commission members,
I didn't register, but I'd like to speak.
if you want to, you have to fill out a sheet if you would, and then,
I gotta fill out a sheet.
yep, at the back corner there, just so we have a record of. Yes, sir.
Got one question. We're at 4610 Sandpiper. We border very slim, where that one corner is about 50 feet there where the red flag right now. We never did get a notice.
Okay, you'll have to fill out a sheet too, and if you could, just because it's being taped, this is being videotaped, it'll
Okay.
be on YouTube, actually.
Well, she's,
Oh, your wife, that's your wife that spoke earlier?
so everybody that registered will get a new plot plan or a new.
Absolutely, you'll get the new information if anything else happens. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
I'm registered over there, but I live on the corner of Stony Hill and Morning Dove. I did not get a notice about this. I found out from a neighbor.
You're beyond 200 feet.
But I'm still impacted.
Okay. All right, I mean, you're welcome to talk, but we just have to do it this way for public record.
But I was just wondering, will I be included? What's the rationale for 200 feet?
I'm not sure if there's a statute.
That's by ordinance. If you want to
Okay.
leave your name and number, we can add you when we send
And
it
that's
out.
an ordinance, you said, that we only have to notify people?
Yep,
So we're just meeting the bare minimum.
yep. Okay, Jerry?
Yep,
Okay, if you want to just state your name and go ahead.
Jerry Helpland,
Okay,
landowner of the proposed subdivision. And part of my concerns is the water. And I've lived on that farm for over 50 years,
okay,
and we farmed it all. Where the wetlands are now, quote, wetlands.
yep.
And some of the people in the crowd here have bought lots from my father, which we tilled them too. And the only water issue we ever had was a spring on the north end of this plot. And once it got halfway down, it dried up. Now, it just doesn't drain. And I kind of hold the village engineer, the county engineer, and the developer responsible for that. Because we're losing 13, 14 acres now because it's too wet to do anything with. And all the water from these subdivisions just gets spilled into our field, which it's not their problem anymore, now it's ours. And that needs to be rectified somehow, some way. And I don't know if the village is going to do it or the county's going to do it. I've had numerous conversations with the county. They're on agreement with me as to what's going on down there. Where all them houses are from the end of our lot line to the south. When I was a kid, we dissed it, we plowed it, we baled hay, we did everything down there. Never had a water issue. Water always ran. And now it doesn't. So somebody needs to be accountable for that. It's not our problem. It's everybody else's problem. The people that built down there, they should have looked to see which way the water was running or which way the land flows. If they got water in their basements, got to run some pumps 24/7, they should have considered that, or the builders should have considered that and held their houses up. Get it draining away. But they didn't do it because it cost money. And I dealt with the same thing at the end of the next parcel, the 20 to the northeast of that by the quarry. Those condos down there, them people, they were always complaining about water running in their basements. Well, their basements are this high off the ground. What do you think? You look around, it's all downhill. Somebody should have raised them up, you know, but it's not their problem, it's our problem. I don't know. Ellen, you tired of it? I think, you know, it's sad to say that the potential buyer didn't show up for this, but he must have his reasons. But my reasoning is that needs to get rectified first. And I think when they cut Morning Dove through, and they held them culverts up and put that concrete splash barrier in there, that just backed things up further. Water doesn't run on the other side of Morning Dove, on the south side. It don't matter how much it rains. It does not run through them culverts. 'Cause them culverts are up higher than what the grade is. And don't tell me any different, because, like I said, we farmed it all, and I kind of blame the developer and blame whoever the engineer was for that, whether it had been a Village One or county or the developer's engineer. He obviously didn't pay attention to what was going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Nobody else has signed up to speak. I guess we could table this. We have one more?
Yeah, please. Just a quick comment on that. Our village engineer did have a note on his notes that he was requiring all the lots at a minimum height, not only for groundwater, but for flooding. So that was something that we were going to require the developer to address.
Okay. All right, Ryan?
All right, Ryan Hummer, 904 Lindsay Court. I just have some questions. Obviously, the plan will be annexed into the village, is that correct? If that's their desire?
Not unless they
City
come
water,
back.
sewer.
And, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can, go ahead.
Yes, they would have to be annexed in order to do the plan.
Correct, that's based on this presentation, that's probably what's going to happen, an annexation,
It would have
okay? And then in regards to the traffic, you know, I live and drive the Morning Dove route to and from the schools every morning. So, you know, if you're looking at 40-some homes with 2 outlets, my concern is that the stop sign on the corner of Morning Dove and Stony Hill will kind of be a logjam. So there's just, that road itself in the morning, previously stated, is just too busy. First of all, it's really the circuit between the 2 schools. So not only is there buses and kids on bikes and et cetera. So my concern is just that the 2 outlets isn't sufficient. And then my third question or statement would be the outlet number 3. It's for potential future development of a road connecting the original Nightingale, if that's the intention of that outlet. With it being annexed into the village and being an outlot, who would be responsible for the funds to build the necessary roadway across that? Because now we're talking about water flow again. You know, we just don't want the homeowners to be responsible for making the budget meet when it's an outlot like that. So can someone address that in a circumstance similar to this? Who would pay for that to be connected?
One of our recommendations tonight, had they been here, was to turn that outlot into an actual right-of-way.
Okay.
And then it would be just like any other road in there.
Yeah, and I guess that's mainly why I was here. My grandfather owns the land next to that, Wallers, Mr. Wallers. You know, with the water issue, if that's what we want to call it, that should be something that's engineered to continue the water flow, or you know, in my opinion, the water doesn't flow beyond Morning Dove into that marsh. So I guess, you know, the other concern I have as this butts up to it potentially with an annexation into the town property is, would they have interest in connecting that, and can we do that at that time? It would give us a third outlet. You know, I know that some of the homeowners here that live on that road, I get that you would have concerns, and I understand that. We do need to put some additional stop signs maybe on Sandpiper that could potentially slow the traffic down and have those discussions. But right now, my grandfather, who his lots are basically on the south side of outlet 3, where basically lot 44, 45, and 46, after you pass all outlet 5 and 4, his 5-acre parcel's there. When there's traffic that comes on Nightingale, there's no turnaround there. So, so, you know, it would meet the needs potential, and I know that comes at a cost, and I've discussed this with individuals, but there is a Christmas display that brings traffic, and Mr. Display does a great job with that, but we have no turnaround there, and I would just ask that it would be taken into consideration for whoever develops this, that some agreement, if possible, that road is done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If that's all the people that are here to speak, do we want a motion to table it?
Close the public hearing and then make a motion.
At this point, we'll close the public hearing for the Drumlin Grove proposal. And if somebody wants, I would make a motion, we table it and tell her unless we hear from the developer.
I'll second.
I would table because
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Okay, there's a motion and a second to table this indefinitely, I guess, until we hear from the developer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Sorry for coming out for nothing, folks. I don't know why I didn't show up. Okay. Absolutely. Thanks.
Jack, I suggest maybe give it a couple minutes, let people clear out a little bit more.
Yep, take a 5-minute recess, let people. All right. Item 7 is discuss and consider the request from Encore Homes for approval of a preliminary plat for the proposed Drumlin Grove subdivision to create 48 single-family residential parcels and 5 outlots from current parcel 071105480003, located north of West Lawn Heights 3rd Edition and west of West Lawn Heights 1st Edition, and I will move we also table that.
Second.
Okay. Motion and a...
I thought that's what we tabled.
I'm sorry?
You closed the public hearing and then didn't we table 7?
I think we tabled 6.
We tabled 6.
Tabled 6.
And
Yeah.
so 7 and 8 would
Why do
probably
you
be,
table a public hearing?
you close the public hearing and then you
Which is what we
close
did.
the item.
Yep.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
Just to be on the safe side.
That's
Yep.
fine.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, motion to table, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Okay, motion passes, thanks.
Jack, I'd suggest the same item, same thing then for item 8.
Okay.
Excuse me, folks, there are other items and so.
Okay. All right, item 8, discuss and consider ordinance 03-2017 annexing territory from the township of Cottage Grove to the village of Cottage Grove, Dane County, Wisconsin, Dublin Family Farm LLC. Annex, Don, did you want to shut the door? Thanks. Is the annexation petition still active?
I would table that as well.
Okay.
I mean, technically, they could annex without doing the plat, but I
It's
don't
not
think-
the
I
way
don't think that's the
it's supposed to
intention.
be done.
That's not the intention, so may as well table.
I agree.
Motion to table item number 8.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second to table item number 8 as well? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, we are on to item 9, which is Shady Grove. All right. Item 9 is discuss and consider ordinance 04-2017 annexing territory from the township of Cottage Grove to the village of Cottage Grove, Dane County, Wisconsin, Shady Grove LLC annexation. And we have one individual that wishes to speak. If you want to, I guess you're in the minority tonight, different issue, but just give us your name and.
My name's Robert Proctor, 6101 Gateway Green, Monona, Wisconsin. I'm the attorney that represents Shady Grove LLC, the owner of the Shady Grove property that's going to be coming forward as a possible subdivision. As you can see on the agenda, this is just the annexation. Shady Grove LLC was responsible for the petition of annexation. And so we're at this point, we would ask that the Planning Commission consider and approve the annexation step subject to the conditions and recommendations set forth by staff, specifically the developer's agreement or the annexation agreement. And so at this point, we think that there's a number of very positive reasons why the Planning Commission should consider this annexation. The annexation would be for approximately 75.7 acres. It includes the land that's across the kitty corner from Glacial Drumlin School, and then the area that surrounds what was going to be the future library site. So the library site is right now within the village. The next to the library site or below the library site is the Trowbridge Dental kind of commercial building, which is about 1.696 acres. That would be included in the annexation. And then the farmland surrounding it, owned by the Donald and Michelle Blair, would also come in. This is a non-unanimous annexation, which basically means that the two of the owners didn't sign the petition itself. So a majority of the land is basically on a non-unanimous. What happens is, so long as a majority of the electors, which are the people that live there that voted in the last gubernatorial election, and a majority, and the persons owning a majority of the land can bring the petition forward. We did that. Shady Grove LLC owns more than 50% of the land, and there are two electors that live on the site, and they both signed the petition. Notices went out to the other landowners regarding this annexation happening. We spoke specifically to Donald Blair. He didn't have any objections, but he owns it with that land with his ex-wife who lives in Illinois. We're not able to speak with her, but we did send her a certified letter, so she got the notice that was required, and we did not hear back, and it included a phone number and everything, and so we did not have an objection from them. I think it's fair to say we didn't have an objection. We spoke to the owner of Trowbridge Dental LLC, the owner of that land. He had a number of questions, and we provided him some information, and then the communication kind of fell off. I would not characterize him as supporting it. He didn't say he objected to it, but I think and I'm afraid to put words in his mouth, but I think the obvious issue, he'd be worried about his taxes going up, because the mill rate in the village is more than the town. So I think that, but we didn't hear one way or the other from him on how he would be, and he also would have received a certified notice with the petition. The Wisconsin Department of, let me step back. You may remember a while ago, the owners of the land had worked with somebody who was going to develop the land, and some issues came up about the annexation. And the reason is because the people that did the original annexation didn't understand what they were doing and created it basically what's called a town island, or some people call it a balloon on a string, which is illegal, and then created a mess and a headache for everybody. So in order to avoid doing that is why you can't leave. What really happens is the commercial property can't be left out, the dental clinic property. That would create a town island and make the entire annexation illegal. So there's no choice but to actually bring it in with the other properties so that it's a contiguous and rational annexation, as opposed to creating different islands just because so anyway, that's the reason it was done that way. And the Wisconsin Department of Administration, which reviews all of these, reviewed it and determined that it was in the public interest. So that's a big hurdle, because they're the ones that generally are looked to look at annexation and make sure it was done correctly and that there's no issues with it. The Shady Grove, now, even though this is just the annexation portion, obviously, as you know, the village has already had this area annexed into the capital, into the Dane County water quality area to get urban services. So that was an amendment to the Dane County water quality plan. So the intent is to create a subdivision there. So I'll speak to that even though the plan's not here. I'm glad most of the people left because I'm not ready to talk about traffic patterns and so forth because this is about the annexation.
Sure.
But it would create, at this point, the drawings would show it creating approximately 62 single-family lots, 4 multi-family lots, including a 4-unit building, a 4 to 6-unit building, and potentially up to a 24-unit building. This development's consistent with the village's comprehensive plan that has this developing as single-family neighborhoods. And it was consistent with the Dane County Water Quality Plan as reviewed by the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission. So we think that this has a lot of benefits to the village. For example, right now in Dane County, there is a lack of single-family housing. My day job is one of the jobs I have is I also work for the Realtors Association and I get all the data. And a healthy market of single-family homes is approximately 5 to 6 months of inventory. Right now, under 30 days, or it's under 30 days for houses that are under $300,000, and it's 2 months just in general across the board. There's less than 1,000 single-family properties for sale right now in Dane County, and there should be 5,000 to 6,000. So there is a huge need, and it's driving up the prices, and these will be homes that would be affordable to the middle class. And it's across the school from the school district, so that's huge. It will also be a significant increase to the tax base. If you just start eyeballing the numbers at about $375,000 per home with the lot, that's going to create a tax base of over $23 million. You put in the multiple family, and you're going to be over $24 million in assessments. At the mill rate of $23 per $1,000, that'll create approximately $310,000 a year that would go to the school district, very rough numbers. Over $145,000 a year in taxes to the municipality. I also think it came up earlier, and one of the misconceptions, I think, and I'm glad that Matt spoke to it, is that the Monona School District has planned to have anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 students through 2035. That's what they're basing their facility plans on, so they're planning for these students. Right now, the school has at least 10% of the students aren't even Monona Grove District students. They're coming in from open enrollment. And that's a huge issue for the school district because the way the state funding works is you get a lot less money for out-of-district students. You get a lot more. I saw one time like 90 students can add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in additional funding in district students. So it's in the best interest of the Monona Grove School District to have development happening in the village of Cottage Grove so that those students are in-district students with the way the funding works, as opposed to filling up capacity with out-of-district students where you are then stuck. So we think that we believe that this subdivision will cater to families with children. It's across the street from Glacial Drumlin School District, will be a huge benefit to your tax base, will be a tax benefit to the school district, and will be a funding benefit to the school district. And so we think that that's a huge benefit for this development. And for all those reasons, the first step is doing the annexation. And so we believe since the DOA has shown that this annexation follows the law and is in the public interest, CARPC, Capital Area Regional Planning Commission, which isn't always the easiest, has recommended approval of it for urban services. We haven't received any objections from anybody regarding the annexation. We think it's a very beneficial to the village to move forward with it. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Robert, to the school conversation, it's not just tax base for the schools. Their formula for state aid is dependent on additional enrollment, so they get additional state aid with as their enrollment increases. So it's not like they're left high and dry when you keep adding students. There's also, but they're also getting revenue from tax base and from the state in addition. So it's not unsustainable, especially when they have it in their plans already. So just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I agree. I would say absolutely, it's obvious and common sense that as you add children, there's a stress that's put on the facility. But it's too simple to just stop there and not understand that the addition of students in district and the addition of the tax base done correctly, especially multifamily, is a huge benefit to the school district. So.
Any questions for Robert? Okay.
I would move approval
Okay.
with condition of ordinance 04-2017 with the condition stated in the staff recommendation as number 1.
Okay.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mick and second by Phyllis to approve the annexation petition. Any other discussion?
So Lisa, will this now become 03-2017?
You have to change the statute, yeah, because
Oh.
Drummond Grove was the other one.
Okay.
So we'll have to change the number, but
I would request that we approve ordinance 03-2017.
okay, second, okay with that?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. One opposed and one obviously not here. So motion passes, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back up to top here. Does it work? So here, there we go, let's go that way. Now. Okay.
Lisa, while I'm thinking about it, if you haven't noted already, we'll get Drummond Grove off the board agenda.
Yep.
And then
Okay. All right, so we got number 9, and that brings us to number 10, comments from commission members.
My lips are sealed.
Nick? Fellows? John?
Yeah, just a few if I can. I figured the drainage problem would be brought up, and I fully agree with the former landowner. We had folks in here maybe 6 months ago that had standing water through the summer and it froze, and we're wasting utility workers' time dealing with poor engineering, in my opinion. So if we do proceed with any development there, I would just echo what they have to say. Secondly, it's just a recommendation, but I know the school district projects 1,000 to 2,000 kids in the next 15 to 20 years. But their study also indicates that they're going to be at school capacity within 4 years. So at some point, I would recommend some sort of joint press release to get ahead of this, because there's a lot of stuff going on in social media right now and blah, blah, blah. But meetings with the school district versus, what are the plans? Are they going to plan to build out here or build out there? And it's going to have to go to referendum, but at some point, we're going to have to it's probably in our best interest to be proactive and ahead of the curve versus reactive on the needs of school capacity. Last issue I have on the developments is, if there are issues on Sandpiper, I think it's probably more in the town. And I should have said this when Chris is here, but maybe they can do speed traps or some sort of digital speed limit signs to slow down traffic. And if that doesn't work, traffic signs, I know there's a lot of village people cutting through there too, but I think that's probably town jurisdiction. And then the last item I had was a future agenda item, just to better understand the whole permitting with the fence issue. So if the individual that grants the permits from the village grants a permit, but it doesn't fit the covenants, I think it almost defeats the purpose of paying for it's like $15 or $25 to build a fence to get a permit. I don't know if we can get the individual that grants the permits, the covenants before he grants the permits, because it's kind of like a false security blanket that, hey, I got a permit from the village, I can go ahead and do that.
But there isn't really a mechanism for us to, they by right can build a fence as far as the village is concerned with our ordinance. So we don't have any mechanism to say they can't build a fence.
But what we're doing now, John,
it's a private matter.
What we're doing is letting making them aware, and just saying, you need to check to see if you have covenants that would restrict this.
And
So, I
the
mean,
village
that's-
has all the covenants from all the development?
No, it's just on
It
this-
has nothing
that's
to do
private.
with the
That's-
covenants, it's totally private.
That's a private agreement between.
Like a neighborhood covenant from a
Correct.
subdivision or something.
It's just taking the step of saying to them, you better check to make sure that there aren't covenants.
How would one go about getting the covenants?
You would ask for a title opinion or a title letter from Dane County Title. Yeah, or you could go online and take a look at it, yeah.
You can get them on Access Dane online.
Okay, I'm just trying to educate myself,
Right,
because
yeah.
it's a little confusing. And
And this is an issue that always comes up. One of the first things I ever received as a municipal attorney was a call from someone who wanted me to handle their restrictive covenant issue. And I said, well, you know, I represent the municipality. And they said, well, yeah, you're the village attorney. You're supposed to do everything for the people of the village. I said, well, no, not exactly. So, but we do now, we've talked with Lisa and with our staff and to alert people that there could be these underlying restrictions that they need to check into.
And like, for instance, most of Andrew Homburg's subdivisions generally do not allow fences. So if we know for sure that, you know, we let them know that very, very likely, you know, your covenants don't allow you to build a fence, but
Until
you
they're
might want to
turned-
contact.
yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm in an Andrew Homburg development. With a pool, I have to have a fence, and I have a fence.
Sure,
so-
well, there's exceptions. I mean, he makes exceptions
Yeah.
for
You have to have a bigger fence probably with the pool.
for a child with a,
Yeah.
you know, that's deaf or blind or things like that.
All right.
Okay.
But it all changes when it gets turned over.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there's no longer a homeowner association or whatever for the
Right.
developer, then it's different.
And a comment on the stormwater. Jack had met with the county on that, and contrary to what Mr. Helgeland was saying, everything we've seen is actually the exact opposite. They did some work that was potentially unpermitted and changed the flow, and that's a chunk of the issue. Some of the other issues is the water table in general. It's just over time, the rain events and it being a low-lying area where some of that might never be able to be fixed. I don't necessarily, just from seeing the engineering reviews that I've seen in the last handful of years and the process here, that the village's stormwater review on a plat is not going to contribute in addition. It's not going to make anyone's situation worse. So I don't necessarily, and I guess I can't speak to developments that happened 15, 20 years ago or whatever, but I highly doubt that village development is negatively contributing to his property's situation.
Yeah, I'm not talking his property, I'm talking with the 6 or 7 families that were in.
For conservative
November,
support.
or,
Yeah.
correct.
Sure,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and I showed Mr. Parisi the topo maps over the last series of like 10 to 12 years, and you can just literally see the wet area being diverted. And
Yeah, the aerial photographs prove what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, Fred?
No comments.
Okay. Nothing for me. I just wanted to let people get their thoughts on record here as long as they were here tonight. So, Matt? Lee?
Well, Matt's upset because we've changed places here, but I have nothing to do with that. So his comfort level is low.
The karma flow is interrupted.
And just so, for anyone who was wondering, I haven't been at the last couple of meetings. I had heart surgery, and the good news is that they found a heart. The bad news is that there was something in there that they needed to fix, which they seem to have done. And so I'm back and hopefully better than ever.
Okay.
Actually, I have a question. When is our next meeting? Because I'm a little confused.
January
Uh,
29th.
We're back on the
Yeah.
regular schedule now.
June 29th, yeah.
June 29th.
June 29th.
January.
Yeah.
Well, June
Okay.
20th.
That's on-
Yeah.
yeah.
June 29th
Yeah.
will not be our regular
Yeah, sorry.
meeting.
Yeah.
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 June 29th and then back.
And were those, was
In
this
July.
meeting,
But then we're gonna
that
have a
meeting
meeting the following-
rescheduled based on the whole?
Was that
Drum
because of the
and roll.
developer? Was that, the developer asked to reschedule these, or? I don't remember what we did. Okay. Then he didn't show up either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I mean,
Okay.
are we gonna keep that one then, for June 29th?
The 29th?
I mean, that was my plan, unless you have
I
a
think
preference to
everyone-
switch it back. I don't want to confuse
If you want to go
everyone
back to
more.
the first,
No, I'm good with, I mean,
And
I
then
was just-
the next one will be July 12th. After that, just
Okay.
back to the regular one?
yeah, and that,
Okay.
that puts the onus on him if he wanted it switched, and he needs to show up or do something. So,
All right, just, thank you.
as long as we know when to be here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Aaron, anything else?
just related to that, sorry to have everyone come out on a weird night and not
Yeah.
get anything done, but.
I feel worse about this. I mean, all the time that Aaron puts in on these staff reports and preparing that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's done a great job, but it's, you know, a month's worth plus of work.
Yep.
Over time, and all the contacts with the developer, and kind of it's a shame. So
It's not as simple as people think.
No.
I'd be
Mike?
pissed if I was a neighbor too.
We'll keep requiring soil borings and more, research on developments. I don't know, again, what was done when some of the developments were done, 10 or 12 years ago. But one of the things that was hard for me to understand, when we say, and I have it as a comment, that they need to be basement floors 2 feet above high groundwater. We have measured groundwater at a time when we think it's high, but we are getting information from those soil samples where they can kind of see the characteristics of where it may have been even higher than they measured it. So that's what we're going to continue to go with, and you do not want to leave those situations behind. So as developments come in, it's not necessarily the developer's engineer that's looking out for the public, and that I bear that responsibility for the village. So.
Good. The only thing I would add is that regarding the Seldal plat, the older plat that's being rebuilt now, Mike got me some answers on people's driveways. Some people have asphalt driveways and they don't want half concrete and half asphalt, so that's been resolved. So if anybody asks you, you can direct them to Mike or myself and I can get them an answer, because that was a concern for a few residents. So. But it's under control. So. All right, future agenda items. I guess we don't put this back on the agenda unless we hear from the developer.
And about these guys, Shady Grove has been going to all the different committees with their concepts, so they're working
Okay.
on getting their plat ready. I know Summit's architects are starting to wrap up their building plans, so I think
Good.
we'll see them, maybe not the end of June, but pretty soon.
Right.
And if I had known this was only going to take an hour, we could have done some more comp plan stuff, but I thought we were going to be here all night.
It's NBA Finals game anyway. So.
People like Summit, are they notified of the rescheduled plan meetings then? So they know, okay, see, okay. All right, item 12, anybody want to go home?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, second, non-debatable, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You're good.